Looks like Christopher Greene just joined us. I am so excited, everybody. We got the man, the myth, the legend. We got Christopher Greene, 1000X.
What is up, 1000 freaking X, baby? To the freaking moon. Great to see your face, Donut. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. We were all so worried. Jacob Israel hit me up. We all were so worried, and it's good to see you. How are you doing?
Well, a little disheveled, honestly. I mean, it's been a heck of a couple of days. You know, power outages, that was cut first. No communication with the outside world. No cell towers, nothing. Complete darkness. So, as you know, I had you out. You've been out to Maui a couple times. I mean, Lahaina is completely gone. It's like a nuclear bomb went off. There's nothing left. There's been billions of dollars worth of damages. Very, very sad. Obviously, I mean, that's, an emotional thing for myself and even the people that live there with the businesses and the local population and the state of Hawaii in general. This is the worst, I would say, economic disaster and physical disaster that we've arguably ever seen outside of Pearl Harbor. This was the 9/11 of Maui. On the positive side, there's been, great activity in terms of providing resources, food, water that people need. Number one priority, of course, is human life, human safety. But yeah, it's tough to take in. I've been very tired, haven't slept in a couple of days, so I'm trying to get my bearings. I shot a video earlier today to the best of my ability just to update people, and we've had a great outpouring of support, with prayers, and well wishes of people wishing us well. And I really appreciate that. It's very difficult to thank everybody. Miraculously, Island Project is well intact. It's been unscathed. But like I said, I have a lot of friends and part of our ohana that have lost everything. And so we're kind of in this moment where Donut, all of our prepping is paid off. So by the way, I mean, it was hugely, hugely beneficial and critical because we're so prepared, not just for my family, but for the community during all of this going on. I mean, satellite radios, backup power, food, water, pretty much anything that we needed. The little communication that I did have actually came from my bug out bags. And, people have been saying for years, Christopher, when are you ever going to need a bug out bag? Well, we're giving out hundreds right now. And they've been absolutely essential. But the big thing has been that, just like we already know this in the preparedness community, there was no guidance from local officials or government authorities at all. So even at this very minute, many people in West Maui do not know that they can evacuate. Within the first 24 to 48 hours, there was fires encroaching from all directions. So I made the executive decision, obviously in charge of my own family and friends, that we would stay put. It was the safest place to be, God willing, all glory to him, and it proved to be case in point. But we tried to rally and exit from multiple areas and were turned around by officials, police officers that I think probably had good intentions but didn't know. So the real issue, in my opinion, is a lack of communication having been on the ground. There were no warnings, no siren systems that went on before the flames began to engulf the town. And what's really concerning about it, and I'm not even getting into the conspiracy theories right now, and I'm not even going to talk about them because I just think that at this point, that's not even worthwhile. Although I'm sure that there's a lot of people discussing it. It's very convenient that the whole town of Lahaina was wiped out with a clean slate. And now it appears that there's just eminent domain for like a planned redevelopment. And that's what I'll say about it. I'm very concerned about that. And I'm concerned about the sanctity of life, the people, the Hawaiian culture, the Hawaiian lands. And it was Lahaina where all the focus was. But I've got friends all over the island. There's still fires raging. They've been contained 70, 80%. So the worst of it is hopefully over. Upcountry Kula on fire. Kihei on fire. Lahaina essentially nuked. So I hear people talking about, was it direct energy weapons? Again, I don't really want to give even my opinion on this at this moment. It doesn't matter, though, because what has happened has already happened. And so there's no turning back now. And it's going to be very interesting to see what's next. I would not expect power at properties on West Side for probably, some people are saying 2 to 3 weeks conservatively. I would say a month. I'm expecting things to move slowly. It's going to take a decade at least to rebuild. And my fear is, as a local and somebody that loves Maui, and it's so close to my heart, and I'm also an investor and I'm in real estate. We do all kinds of great things for the island on multiple levels, is, well, how is this thing going to be rebuilt? Because I see a corporatocracy now moving in. I see the BlackRocks on Wall Street, and I have a funny feeling they're going to be building giant towers in front of Lahaina and Front Street right now, which is going to take all the charm and all the history and all the beauty and all the quaintness of it away forever. And it's going to further the gentrification that I've been warning about for a very, very long time. So I do believe that God has put us in charge, in my team, along with great people like yourself, getting the media out to the people that need to hear it. My father, John Greene, etc. He positioned us well in advance here with Island Project. I will be making major announcements soon for help and providing more resources for locals on the ground that are not getting the government services that are in need. There's no gas, dude. There's people on the sides of roads, infants. They don't know. They are in the dark. So what I'm telling you, there's still people that don't know what's going on. We did not know. I did not know 24 hours ago if the whole island had been obliterated. Like, there's no communication, no contact, dude. So this really was like one of those, it still is, martial law type scenarios where even the local police don't know what is up and what is down. That bad, man. Crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, thank God you're okay. Everybody, I was getting messages from people, friends. As Christopher, I worked for AMTV for over a decade. I was just out there. This is me right here with Christopher. Christopher's filming me, your boy Donut right here. That place is burnt to a crisp now. Very sad. And it's like also like I was praying last night and I'm asking God, like, why? I was there for a month. You know me, I was always walking around there. That was my thing. I'd go down there, walk around. Pretty wild stuff. I got your website right here. Everybody, make sure you go subscribe to AMTV if you're not already subscribed there. I got some podcast with Christopher the General up there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
man.
I do want to mention that there is the possibility of another hurricane approaching. I know, sounds crazy, but I was talking about this with, again, one of my good friends locally on the island. But see, this is what I was really concerned about, is now that the critical infrastructure is down, okay, and there's all this trouble on the ground, you're at your weakest point. So, if anything else happens, and this also put into perspective, if there's ever an asymmetric event, this is a localized national disaster. But I want people to, think about worst case scenarios with a preparedness mindset. If there was ever a situation where major U.S. cities were all in the same situation at the same time, and let's say you had L.A. and New York and another major city down, and then you had Oahu and Maui, like these places would be of least concern to government officials. Like, you're not going to get any help. And so it's so important that private communities and private enterprises are providing the support. So we do have boats going over right now, providing generators. There's been multiple campaigns for fundraising and charity. I'll make an announcement on that very, very soon. Things that the Island Project is going to do to help provide resources and support for the community in need. But yeah, it just kind of puts everything into perspective of where we are. But I think the main focus should just be, again, human life, safety. This is actually a real crisis, a real event, a real emergency situation. We can assess the damage later. We can assess the redevelopment later, but nobody cares about that. I want to announce, very few people know, because we didn't know. It took a while to figure this out. But there is northbound, as you pass Kapalua, one-lane roads. You can take that all the way to Waihehe Ridge and exit the choke points. Very few people actually knew that, and they were getting stopped trying to go southbound towards the Mailaya Harbor area. So I have friends that have lost homes, boats, businesses are gone. President Biden, of course, announced financial aid. We'll see what happens with that. You know,
and you said in
I
your
can get political, but yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
no, you can. It's yeah, you were talking in your last video, and everyone just tuning in. Christopher lives right here in Lahaina, where
Yeah.
this happened. This is where you live, and your family, and all this. And your last video, you were talking about how when the hurricane was happening, they're like, no big deal, no big deal. And then it happens, and it is a big deal. And people are trapped, very freaky stuff. But you were built sort of for the situation with generators, with all this. Communication is the number one thing that I'm hearing from you. That this tower went down. Like, how could you not communicate? Like, it seems. What did you learn
Well,
from this crazy situation that you had to go through? We've been through a lot of situations. We've worked for 10 years, so we've been out and about in the world, and we've gone through a lot of different things. In Vegas, there was alarms going off one day that we were
I
there.
remember that.
We done a lot of crazy stuff. We were up in Singapore. The security was like, "Yo, what's going on?" You know. So, what did you
Well,
learn from this terrible event?
yeah, I mean,
As a prepper, as a
yeah,
prepper.
basically preparedness is key. I mean, it sounds kind of corny, but it really is true. Food, water, backup power, radios, all that really came into handy. All these supplies. I mean, I'm prepped for a year or longer. I mean, longer if we really need to stretch it out, not just for my family, but multiple families and communities, if it's needed. But you really assess the moment as you're in the moment, and you kind of run your own intelligence campaigns of, hey, information. So that's my bottom line is information is key. Just like in a wartime scenario or in a war zone, you're kind of looking at on the ground, number one, what's happening, what's the playing field, you're deducing risks. So it's kind of like chess. Is it better to flee? So for example, on the main night, the power cut off first, then the fires start encroaching. Fires are approaching from multiple angles all around you, burning the whole island in multiple areas. You have to make a decision whether or not you flee or you stay, and you've got to figure that out because each option presents risks. So it's really a risk management situation. And as I was looking at it the last few days, is now we have thousands of people evacuating to the airports, et cetera. And I think that is hopefully getting easier on the ground. Society breaks down very quickly. So you go a couple more days and you're going to have riots, honestly. You're going to have people start to panic. There is no gas on the west side of Maui, as far as I know. There is no power. There is no communication. People are on the sides of roads. I was watching videos earlier today, and they're still misinformed. So the government could do a lot better job. Like, for example, why aren't there authorities caravanning people to safety and letting them know that there's exit points and rallying points? Zero communication at all, even to this very second that I'm speaking. So the preparation definitely came into handy because I've mapped this out in some of these wartime scenarios, which this is a civilian situation, but we were basically able to operate like we're in Iraq, avoiding IEDs and trying to figure out what comes next. Also, too, we were quick to action on all the preparatory things that would be needed to be done, filling up bathtubs, filling up water, understanding that the water supply is going to be cut off. And they're now saying only drink bottled water. Because again, everything's dependent on electric. How about those Teslas? How'd you like to own those electric cars, which I keep bitching about? They don't work, dude. Okay, my gasoline guzzler Jeep was the only thing to drive the Ohana to safety. So again, proving the point that all these lies and BS that were sold, when it came down to it, when the grid fails, it comes down to the basics. And so I think from a preparatory mindset, you really want to just think common sense. You want to think how to protect your family in the crisis, and then risk management down the line as you're, building yourself out to safety. But again, this is a huge tragedy donut. It's catastrophic on so many levels. I am very hopeful, and I see that there's going to be, and there already is, a great effort of support, family and friends, and a rebuilding process that's going to take place. But yeah, this is it's going to change things permanently now, whether people like it or not. And it's again convenient. The conspiracy theorist of me will come out. How is it that this entire piece of real estate has been cleared? Like there's barely nothing left outside of a banyan tree, which was given as a gift to the Hawaiian Kingdom, I think in the 1800s, a Catholic church, and like another building or two. Everything is leveled. So the people that live there are now basically faced with no options. And it's just super convenient that corporate America gets to roll in with their billions of dollars in Biden aid and government grants and 0% interest rate loans. And now they're just going to take over the whole place. So again, I stress it's important that private enterprises like the Island Project and the community has a say and a voice in this process moving forward. Because we were barely out of the crisis point and they're already telling us they're rebuilding. Like literally fires are still raging. And I'm hearing once we got out to Cellular Tower that they're already working on the rebuilding effort. Like, did you guys already draft development plans before the whole town burnt down? Like, that'll be a topic of discussion I'm sure I'll talk about in the coming days, weeks, and months. But this is a multi-decade now rebuilding process. And it's sad to see. Thankfully, I couldn't have done this, but God willing, Island Project's in a position of strength. I do believe God put us here for a reason to help with relief efforts, charity, food, water, energy, anything that is needed. And I just encourage people around the world tuning into your platform, Donut. You've got 100,000 plus millions of people around the world tuning in from all over, whether or not it's YouTube, Facebook. I know you're huge on Rumble now, Twitter, etc.
Right.
The community really does need the support. So, especially if you're local, but if you're tuning in from around the world or here in the United States of America or anywhere for that matter, people actually really do legitimately need help. And so that your effort and relief effort does make a difference. And it makes a difference now down to the second.
Yeah, I mean, I was just up there with Christopher. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. You can see videos of us up there. Like I was there. I mean, it's surreal, sort of, to be out here. I'm very grateful that you're alive and well, and so is your family. And it's just wild. I did this every day. I went down here. I walked around this tree. I went to these places, and it's gone. It just, yeah.
So what you're looking at right there, sorry to interrupt, but so you've got the harbor down there, all the boats essentially destroyed, all the restaurants gone, the yacht club. I have which they do a lot of great sailing opportunities for kids, gone, wiped out. Dude, I didn't even think about this, but I love art as I know you do, but we're talking some of the most expensive art in the world was destroyed.
Oh, that's right.
I have a good friend of mine
right here
who we text message. I mean, everything's gone, dude.
That's bad.
Yeah, even from an artistic, cultural standpoint, it's wiped out. It even brings more to the forefront, these paintings of Lahaina and what it used to look like. It'll never be the same again. It is a death of Lahaina in the west side of Maui. And I guess we pray, and I know God's in charge. There will be a rebirth. But this affects the whole area, especially on the west side. And what's weird about it, you go to the south side, I didn't know if it was going to be just as bad over there, but then everything's working. I didn't know we would have gas. We'd be able to fill up the tanks. We were caravanning over to the south side with, weeks worth of equipment. Essentially, we didn't know if we'd be camped out on the sides of roads with power lines down and fire. We had no idea what's going on. So South Maui's operating. West side is a zombie apocalypse. It's insane.
And it's only a one road. So the people out there, I remember I was out there. If there's a car accident, there's pretty much one major road that goes around the entire island. But I think it's important for anybody who is out there, because I got friends out there on different islands. Maybe they were visiting or whatever. First, prayers out to all y'all. there's other ways out. That maybe you can bring that up quickly, just one more time for anybody just tuning in now.
Yeah, so I have heard that they're going to open up southbound through Lahaina at some point soon, but the only way to get out in the last 24, 48 hours has been going north. So you have to go north past Kapalua, and it's kind of a no-brainer, but it does get a little treacherous on a one-lane road. So you want to be careful because you have to stop at certain points and let cars pass or you pass. But the only way out of the north side is headed north. So they weren't letting you through yesterday about this time going southbound. Now, probably good reason for it. However, I do know that they were allowing the tourist buses to go that direction. So somebody in charge made a decision to let the buses go that direction while, like, I'll be honest, punishing the locals even further and putting them in more danger, I would argue, by not allowing them to traverse where they were allowing like giant buses to traverse to exit out of Lahaina. So I'm not saying that there was bad intentions, but it kind of felt like that. And even speaking with local police and authorities, it was very much a no one knows what's going on type of situation. Or if they do, they're not telling you. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And you know, I was out there. I learned a lot from you. I was sort of speaking about all the billionaires that live there. Oprah Winfrey, Zuckerberg lives on the other island, Kauai. You got Bezos there. You got Ellison, or what was his name? Something like that.
Ellison, yeah, Larry Ellison and Lanai.
Yeah, I was showing a couple clips from what I learned from you. That was just on my Patreon. I mean, I didn't think that something crazy was going to happen, you know, there. It
Really feels
wild.
otherworldly. I mean, it's very strange. I mean, I'm still kind of like assessing just the damage. It is important to note, though, that, and I'm not underestimating the damage at all, but,
Yeah. So
it's
what do you
very
think? Because
focused.
there's,
Go ahead.
um,
Go ahead.
no, just that they're reporting. They started off with 36 people killed through this, and then they changed it to 56, then they changed it to 55. But the governor, whose name's Greene, but it's spelled differently, is saying
Yeah.
that it's thousands. What's your feelings on that? Is it much worse than that? It seems pretty bad. Is it much
Yeah.
worse?
Well, I would say the casualty counts definitely in the, over 100. That would be my guess. I mean, there was bodies in the streets and,
Oh,
people swimming out past the seawall. If you were in downtown Lahaina, you were basically caught. So it was not easy to get out of there. So very bad. I would say thousands are obviously affected. The smoke inhalation, I've been strangely in some fire emergencies before. I mean, that's actually the worst of it. It's the smoke. So the direct flames aren't typically what, kills most. It's the smoke inhalation. So there was
really?
a lot of treating for that and treatment for that. But you're in a situation now where, I mean, there were no emergency services on the west side. So you need to think about if you're old and you have a heart attack or you have some other pre-existing condition or you're disabled and you can't walk. It's not as if, like, normally, like, just put all this aside. If you had an issue, you can't just call 911 and get help. There's no one to help you. So, like, all the emergency services are focused on the disaster. So you have a real critical situation where that's worrisome. I mean, pray there's not another hurricane that rolls through. The whole place will be just 10x decimated if that happens, and I hope it doesn't. But I'm just saying that because the critical infrastructure is down, it's very easy to analyze and understand what's next. So as we were evacuating yesterday and we're in a safe location now, I was able to get my bearings and, get some, a little rest, not much. What's next is water. That gets shut off because, again, the water comes through electric and the pumps. That's contaminated. There's chemicals in the water supply. So the whole thing's a disaster. Everything runs on electric. Again, so before all the goody two-shoes want to go full-blown electric, your Teslas, like, basically are burnt to a crisp. And even if they survived, you can't use them. So it just proves the point again. I'm not against new energy or anything like that, but like totally useless. So maybe I am. I guess I am against. I could just all these things that people think are the conveniences don't work in the crisis. So it just proves that point that common sense, and you also start to realize how much smarter uh, Americans and people in general are when they have to do everything for their daily survival. Like we have so many conveniences now with media and our cell phones and air conditioning and all of these things. When you're put in a situation where that goes away, you actually spend most of your day in survival mode, thinking, okay, food, water, shelter, safety, sustainability, energy. Like it's kind of interesting. Like in a way, it's almost kind of beautiful, where it's a lot more work, but you're focused on what actually needs to be done, and you're actually put to work in a positive way. So I guess my conclusion to the event is, and it's still unfolding, is that people use it for good, and also think about not only the rebuilding process as we move that direction at some point, but give this some candid thought for the future, because this isn't over. And that's what people need to understand. I've been saying this for years with the crisis that we experienced the last couple of years. You've seen nothing yet. This is coming everywhere. Imagine for a minute that a couple American cities go down in major metropolitan areas. You think you're going to get help? You're not getting any help. So being prepared and privately aware and building communities like Island Project and others are essential for survival and prosperity of the future. And as I did a video earlier, I mean, it's the whole point of what we're doing. So, that's where my focus is going to be as we get our bearings. I get more strength because I'm pretty beat up. But we'll be focused on providing relief efforts, any kind of charitable work that needs to be done, making sure people are, number one, safe and have what they need with food, water, and basic essentials. And then we can kind of look from there what needs to be done next. But yeah, I'm very afraid of what large corporations are now going to do to West Side Maui. I think it's obvious. Like we already know what they're going to do. Like,
yeah, talking to the locals when I was out there,
yeah,
I'm asking them questions and they said they're all being pushed out because of they can't afford to be there anymore. So everyone's getting pushed out. And this just, to me, it just seems like more of that as well on just an evil level, or never let a good crisis go to waste level. And Hawaii goes through a lot of strange things. When I was out there with you, they had the UFO balloon go over, weird. And we're in the helical rising tomorrow. This is an astrological alignment, Christopher, with the dog days. The dog days brings the flooding of the Nile, right? Going back to ancient Egypt. The whole calendar system was based off of tomorrow, the helical rising. America was based off of this star called Sirius. The entire America, the hieroglyph of Sirius is what America's based off of. Even July 4th was the conjunction of the sun and Sirius, as all the founding fathers knew the importance of these days, as America is like the new Egypt with the Mississippi River, the Nile River out in Egypt. So the days that we're in, the mainstream media will say it's a day to manifest on 8/8, the Lionsgate portal. You probably heard all this BS out there, because they wanted people to manifest evil, most likely, probably because the ancient astronomers knew that this brought bad times, the dog days. This is when Trump Mar-a-Lago was raided on 8/8. The fire happened on 8/8. It goes super deep into stuff, and I'm very happy that you're okay. Now, this isn't the only thing that's weird with the balloons and this fire, but there was that emergency alert. Well, that emergency alert for the nationwide was set for the helical rising as well today in 2021. And they're going to do it again October 4th. But they had that fake one, the false one, where everyone ran to the shelter in Hawaii as well. And then you had the green lights from China shining down. And I even heard that a couple of days ago, there was submarines. And I know you've seen weird submarines too. What's your gut? You're really good with gut feelings. Chris, if you guys don't know, Christopher, He came up to me before the whole world changed forever and got locked down. He said, Alex, this is going to be the biggest story in the world ever. And then it
Yeah.
was, it was. So you're really good at your gut feelings. You called Bitcoin. You're like, yo, get some Bitcoin. When everyone was laughing at it, and they not, who's laughing now? Like they ain't even bringing that up. What's your gut feeling on all this weird emergency accidental button being pushed? It just seems weird. It
Yeah,
seems weird.
it's just started. It's not a coincidence. I've been personally very frustrated with this. I mean, my audience, I mean, they're the best in the world, just like yours are, Donut. They get it, they understand. But I've been telling people the worst is yet to come. That what you experienced the last couple of years with lockdowns and all that, that topic, which we're not discussing, that was just, an appetizer. So, what's frustrating in addition to that, it's why prepping and organizing is so important. But we've barely seen anything yet. And so people need to be super activated, super intelligent right now, working together, forming communities. And yeah, it's very scary. Like I said, I think that there's going to be, if I'm just giving my humble opinion, asymmetric events happening in the future. It won't be isolated. I mean, this is very scary stuff that we're seeing. So
Yes,
I could probably say more, but I hope I'm giving the idea that this is kind of what we expected. Like, we've known this is going to come. People need to stop being asleep and wake up and understand that this is the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. I'm so happy that you're here, Christopher, and I'm so happy that you're okay. All of our friends in Arizona, everyone was calling me, my family and all that. So we're happy you're okay. Everybody,
Yeah.
make sure to go subscribe to AMTV. I don't got his links down below, but it's very simple. It's AMTV, and he lives in Lahaina. He builds real estate portfolios called the Island Project. Very interesting. We talked to billionaires. Like, people don't know. Look, this is the guy from Litecoin right here. If you like crypto, we talked to the guy who created Litecoin, John Bolton. You called this guy out. You like this is if people don't know who you are. Like, there's I edit this intro.
And tens of thousands of videos, as you know, that you helped me produce and have been a star as well, Donut, that are just gone down the memory hole of oblivion.
And you called out John McCain too. That was funny.
That was a good one. Well, man, I love you. God bless you. Thanks for reaching out privately too, as well. I did get your text message once I had cell service. Thanks for having me on. I'll keep you updated, and hope to see you soon, Donut.
All right. God bless you. Love you. Have a good one.
You too.